The Iron Horse of Wisconsin, Alan, Ameche's historic legacy. Alan Ameche stands as one of the most enduring figures in American football history. He was known as the Iron Horse of Wisconsin. He rose from small-town roots to the grandest stage in the sport. While his name is most familiar today to older NFL fans, Ameche was at the very heart of the 1958 NFL Championship, the game forever remembered as the greatest game ever played, the making of an Iron Horse. Alan Dante Ameche was born on June 1st, 1933 in Kenosha, Wisconsin, the son of Italian immigrants. He was raised in a hard-working blue-collar family and absorbed values of endurance, toughness, and relentless effort, traits that would later define him on the football field. From an early age, his strength and powerful stride stood out, earning him the nickname, the Horse. Unlike the flashy labels often invented by sports writers, this one came naturally. Ameche had the uncanny ability to absorb hit after hit, carry the ball again and again, and still keep pushing forward. That reputation for durability soon grew into the title that would follow him. Through history, the Iron Horse of Wisconsin. By the time he reached Kenosha High School, now Bradford High, Ameche had already begun to channel that strength into athletics, quickly distinguishing himself as a standout competitor. But it was at the University of Wisconsin-Madison where his college career truly took shape. Arriving in 1951, Ameche wasted no time in establishing himself as the backbone of the Badgers' offense. College football in the early 1950s was a grueling, ground-heavy game, and Ameche thrived in it. He wasn't a flashy runner who relied on jukes or spins. Instead, his power, running, low center of gravity, and sheer refusal to go down made him nearly unstoppable. Opponents often stacked their defenses with extra men just to contain him, but more often than not, he still churned out yardage. From 1951 to 1954, Ameche played in 40 consecutive games without ever missing a contest. In that span, he rushed for 3,212 yards, then an NCAA record, scored 25 touchdowns, and averaged 4.8 yards per carry. His toughness and versatility were unmatched as he also played linebacker in the single platoon era when players were expected to contribute on both offense and defense. One of his finest moments came in the 1953 Rose Bowl, Wisconsin's first ever bowl appearance. As a sophomore, Ameche carried the ball 28 times for 133 yards, proving his to shine on the biggest stage. His senior season in 1954 became the crowning chapter of his college career. That year, his dominance earned him unanimous All-America honors and the prestigious Heisman Trophy, the first in Wisconsin program history. He was also named the Big Ten's most valuable player, receiving the Chicago Tribune Silver Football. By the time he left Madison, Ameche had not only reached the summit of amateur athletics at just 21 years old, but he had also elevated Wisconsin football into the national spotlight. The professional leap. The Baltimore Colts selected Alan Ameche with the 3rd overall pick in the 1955 NFL Draft, and he immediately stepped into the role of fullback. Skeptics questioned whether his punishing, workhorse style could succeed against the speed and toughness of the professional game. Many college greats had stumbled at this level, but Ameche quickly erased all doubts. In his rookie season, Ameche rushed for 961 yards and 9 touchdowns in just 12 games. Phenomenal production for a newcomer. He not only won NFL Rookie of the Year honors, but was also the only rookie named to the Associated Press All-Pro team in 1955. That same year, he began a run of 4 consecutive Pro Bowl selections, 1955 to 1958. For an exclamation point, Ameche set an NFL record by rushing for 410 yards in his first 3 games, a mark that stood until Carnell Cadillac Williams broke it in 2005. Over the course of his 6-year career, 1955 to 1960, Ameche averaged 4.2 yards per carry, rushed for 4,045 yards, caught 101 passes for 733 yards, and scored a combined 44 touchdowns. Coaches relied on him in short yardage situations and high-pressure moments, knowing his relentless drive could deliver. His consistency made him the dependable engine of a Colts team that was rapidly rising to dominance behind the arm of quarterback Johnny Unitas. the 1958 NFL Championship. Ameche's most famous moment, and one of the defining plays in NFL history, came on December 28, 1958 at Yankee Stadium. The NFL Championship game between the Baltimore Colts and the New York Giants was broadcast to a record audience of 45 million viewers, while over 64,000 fans filled the stadium. What unfolded that afternoon would later be hailed as the greatest game ever played. After 4 quarters, the score was tied 17-17, sending the contest into the first sudden death overtime in league history. Led by Unitas, the Colts mounted a deliberate march down the field. Ameche, as always, was the reliable workhorse. He had already scored once earlier in the game on a 2-yard run in the second quarter, and now the championship rested squarely on his shoulders. With the ball on the Giants' 1-yard line and 6:45 left in overtime, everyone knew the call, a handoff to Allen. Ameche. Lowering his shoulder, Ameche drove forward. Giants linebacker Sam Huff met him head-on, but Ameche powered through and crossed the goal line for the game-winning touchdown, his second of the day. The Colts prevailed 23-17, and Ameche's 1-yard plunge instantly became one of the most iconic plays in football history. The drama of that moment helped propel professional football into the national spotlight. In fact, no championship game ended with an overtime touchdown again until Super Bowl LY in 2017, when James White sealed victory for the New England Patriots. Ameche's score, therefore, held a singular place in NFL lore for nearly 6 decades. The final years, the 1958 NFL Championship game was the high point of Alan Ameche's career, but it also marked the beginning of the end. His punishing, straight-ahead style, so central to his success, was taking a heavy toll. Professional football in the 1950s was an unforgiving game. Minimal padding, frozen fields, and an expectation that players would fight through injuries with no thought of rest. Ameche, with his willingness to lower his shoulder and take on defenders, play after play, absorbed more punishment than most. By the end of the decade, the effects were clear. His production began to decline, and in December 1960, an Achilles tendon injury sealed his fate. At just 27 years old, Ameche retired from football. In 6 seasons with the Colts, he carried the ball 1,206 times for 4,045 yards and 40 rushing touchdowns, while adding 101 receptions for 733 yards and 4 more scores. He averaged 4.2 yards per carry, earned 4 Pro Bowl selections, and carved out a reputation as one of the most dependable backs of his era. Though his career was brief, Ameche's impact endured. He was named to the NFL 1950s All-Decade Team and later honored by the Professional Football Researchers Association's Hall of Very Good class of 2015. For all his accomplishments, though, he will always be remembered most for that 1-yard plunge in 1958, the play that helped launch professional football into America's consciousness and secured his place in history. Life beyond football. After retiring from the NFL, Alan Ameche remained a familiar figure in Baltimore. He built a successful business career, most notably with his chain of Ameche's drive-in restaurants, which became a popular part of the local dining scene. At the same time, he never drifted far from the game that had defined him. He stayed active in football circles, making appearances at team events and lending his support to youth sports programs, where his story inspired younger generations. Ameche's life was cut short when he suffered a heart attack on August 8, 1988, passing away at just 55 years old. His death was deeply mourned in both Wisconsin and Baltimore, 2 places where his name had become synonymous with pride, toughness, and football excellence. Lasting legacy. Alan Ameche's career stood at the crossroads of 2 very different eras of football. He played in the grinded-out Iron Man days of the 1950s, and his efforts helped usher in the modern, televised NFL that captured the attention of the nation in the following decade. What defined him above all else was toughness, consistency, and reliability. These qualities made him indispensable to the teams he played for and unforgettable to the fans who watched him. The honors that followed tell the story of his impact. He was the 1954 Heisman Trophy winner, the 1955 NFL Rookie of the Year, and a 4-time Pro Bowl selection from 1955 through 1958. He was inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame in 1975, and most famously, he scored the winning touchdown in the 1958 NFL Championship game, a single play that remains one of the defining moments in the history of American football. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out more NFL content right here on the channel. Thanks for watching.